Now in part B, question 3, we'll create a scatter plot of the assignment versus the exam marks, just of these marks over here. Okay, so we've got assignment marks on the x-axis and the exam marks on the y-axis. So we'll go across and insert a chart, and well, again, you can't see it. We'll move that across, insert a chart. We'll go down and we will find the scatter plot. This will do. So scatter plot, marked scatter, looks good. Alright, move it back. Let's move this to its own sheet. Like that, a bit easier to deal with. Righto. A title would be nice, so we could put a title such as assignment versus exam marks QM1 2016 semester 2, something like that. We could get rid of those. Now we need to, it's got the wrong stuff on this data, so let's select the data. What we want is for the series to be the exam mark. So the first one is fine. It's picked up this extra stuff. We're going to remove the blank series. We don't want that, so it's gone. We're going to remove that blank series. We're going to remove the assignments, and well, it's given us 2 exam series, so we want that one. We don't want 2 of them, we only want 1 of them, so the exam looks like that. And then the X, so let's have a look at what we've got. The Y values are contained in B, the second column, 2 to 664, that's correct. The X values are contained in A, the first column, 2 to 664, that's correct. So we've made a bit of a mess, but we've come up with the right entries in all the right places there, and there we have a scatter plot. It looks pretty much how we would want it. There's a few things that could be done to improve this scatter plot. So for instance, the titles on these axes should be more informative than they are. So axis title could be changed to, let's just say, the exam mark in percentages, for instance. And the axis title on the horizontal axis could be made assignment mark in percentage terms, like that. Okay, just by clicking on it. If we right-click on it, see how it's really small, so if we right-click on it, now you can't see what I'm getting when I right-click on it, so if I right-click on it and go to Format Text like this, then we can change the font size to something bigger, right? So that it becomes a bit more legible, which is probably a good thing to do. The other thing that you have the opportunity to do, I've now just clicked in the middle of all of these spots here. See how they're kind of big? There's lots of them, there's 663 of them, and they just look a bit big and splotchy on here. So one thing that we could do is to format the data series and go to the marker style, and instead of automatic, let's just give it some little round dots. And size 9, that kind of seems a bit large. So what if I'm just going to bring this so we can see what happens when I click on that size and it just gets smaller. Maybe 3 is not too bad. So go there. And if we click over here, then you can see when it's not so splotchy, right? You can see where the individual points on that scatter plot are contained. We only have one thing here, so we don't probably really need that legend. We could delete that. And also the marks clearly have to lie between 0 and 100. So this axis here is going up to an unreasonably large number. So I've right-clicked on the axis. Again, you can't see what I've got there. So I'll start again. If I select the axis like that, just click on the numbers and do a right-click and go down and format the axis like this. Then it gives us the minimum, and it's set the maximum to be 1.2, which is 120%. So we'll just change that to be 1, which makes sense when we're dealing with marks out of 100. And you can see it's now changed the upper value there to 100. Just move that back down. So obviously you can choose this axis and increase its font size and its label size as well. But that's the kind of scatter plot that we would like to see for data like this. Now, while we're at it, we might as well compute the covariance and correlation between these two marks. So let's go back to the worksheet. We could perhaps just put it here. So the covariance is going to be given by equals formula, covariance, and we're going to use the sample covariance, covariance.s. Okay? And covariance requires that two sets of observations be given. So array number 1 will give the assignment marks. So we'll click there, hold down the shift and the command or the control, and hit the down arrow to go down to the bottom as usual. So that's array number 1. And then we'll go up to our formula and hit comma, and now we need to specify array number 2. So we'll go to the exam column, hold down shift, hold down command or control, down arrow to select all of those, and we're done. Just hit enter. And so we get a covariance of this 0.0122. So that number itself is not very interesting. It's positive, so that means there's a positive association between those two marks, as you would suggest. So people who do better on assignments tend to do better on exams, is what that positive relationship is telling you. But the covariance tells you nothing about the strength of that relationship. So much more interesting to work out is the correlation. And to do that, we could do the whole business again, but let's use the same trick as we've done a few times now and just fix the range of data that we're dealing with by putting dollar signs in front of those row numbers so that they don't get moved around. And we will copy that formula and move it down and paste it into the next spot and just change the covariance to be the correlation. So correlation, C-O-R-R-E-L will give us the correlation between those two, which is 0.47.